and let's get into this tonight. Thank you so much for all being here. We have been hitting record numbers in each stream, and just quite honestly, I really appreciate that. Your time is something that I treat with great honor and respect. It is your most precious commodity, and I don't take it for granted. I know that I'm a long-winded person. I get my friends telling me that I go into too much detail on my streams. Let me get my camera on here so it's a little more personal. Let's see here. There we go. All right. Now I have to look up at the camera. So we're going to try to keep things a little brief tonight. I'm going to walk you through the basics, and maybe what I'll do is I'll do a longer stream one day that's kind of like something we can use as a resource on how the human body detoxes. I really wanted to prepare some slides for you tonight and show you some things, but you can do that in your own free time. And everything that I'm going to be telling you tonight is accepted medical knowledge. There's nothing really mystical or that interesting about what I'm sharing. Nothing controversial anyway. But what you will find is definitely you'll learn some stuff tonight about how detoxing in the human body really works. And we'll bust through some of the myths and that kind of a thing, and really kind of explain how the body gets rid of toxins. And let's explore these questions that we put into the title of this video tonight. And I'll just read it here. Does detoxing work? Can herbs really... It's always hard for me to say herbs because down under it's not a soft H, it's herbs. Can herbs really remove... And then in America, if a guy's name is H-E-R-B, it's herb and not herb, which is, I don't know, it's funny. So can herbs really remove toxins from your body? Don't your liver and kidneys do the detoxing? Isn't detoxing a load of nonsense to sell snake oil? Find out on tonight's live stream as we dive into the mysterious world of human physiology. So we're going to look at exactly how does the body detox. And we're going to be basic tonight, obviously. I could get quite technical, but I'm not going to because I think that's just kind of showing off. So I'll keep it as simple as I can. So let's look at these questions again. The simple answer to the question, don't your liver and kidneys do the detoxing, is absolutely correct. Yes, they do. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that your body has the nutrients it needs to create the chemical compounds that it does to do the detoxing inside of your body. And one of the main ingredients or the main compounds that does this, responsible for the vast majority of all detoxing in the body, is a molecule made by your liver called glutathione. And glutathione is what we call a tripeptide. It's made up of several amino acids. The end result has 3 amino acids that are bound together. That's why we call it a tripeptide. And there is a mineral that is used as a catalyst in the process of glutathione that's very important because it's very missing from our diets today. But there's 2 particular ingredients. There's 4 ingredients that are, I would say, moderately difficult to get into our diet. Well, 2. Let's rephrase that. There are 2 ingredients that are moderately difficult to obtain in our diet, and that's glutamic acid or glutamine. Your body can use either or. And the other one is glycine. And then there's 2 things that your body has great, it's not in our diet in great quantities, and that is an amino acid called cysteine and the mineral, which is the catalyst in the production of the tripeptide, called selenium. Selenium was one of the very first minerals that was stripped out of the soil. So in order for our body to be detoxing, we need to have elevated glutathione levels in our blood. You can go and get a blood test. It's not that expensive. Most people aren't aware that you can just go to your hospital and get a blood test and find these things out. You can pay for your own blood test. You don't necessarily need to go through your insurance. You'll probably find it's better just not to. I know in Boulder, where I live, most of the time anyway, not right now, but Boulder Community Hospital has a a $15 drawing fee, so it's $15 to go in and have your blood drawn, and then a full metabolic panel is just $5. So with regularity, I would go in and get, especially after I almost destroyed my kidneys, I would go in and get a full metabolic panel, $20, pay cash right there, and a few hours later was in your account. You had an online account you could log into and see all those details. So I would encourage you to check that out. Anybody who starts on our systems, I would really encourage you to do a blood test before and after. Now, because of legal restrictions, we can't use your blood work as a testimonial item. So we can't say, well, you know, here was my blood work before and here it is after. This is purely for you and maybe your spouse, but you can't share this. You can't use this as an example of what might happen, because that will then be making a medical claim. And, you know, the company I'm a part of that makes a lot of these medicinal herbs and supplements that help the body create glutathione, that, you know, most of you already know that's Isagenix. We cannot make claims based around our product. But if you haven't started yet with us and you are about to, I'd recommend it as a great thing to do, because you're always going to have people that are going to come to you and say, this is a load of bunk, it's a load of snake oil, you've been conned out of your money, and blah, 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 which is funny because it's really inexpensive, so I don't know how we can con people out of their money. $2.85 a meal or $3.57 if you're getting the wonderful pro shakes like I do. This was sitting here by pure coincidence, but we might talk about this in a minute. Actually, now that our camera doesn't reverse everything, we will talk about this in a minute. So glutathione, you've got to create this glutathione in your liver. If you don't have glutathione, your body can't detox. So water is another way that your body can detox, drinking lots of water, and really encourage you to do that. There are some that say, there's not really been any serious clinical trials though, that say that lemon juice in your water will aid your body in detoxing and alkalining. And that may be true. There's certainly no harm in that. Certainly makes water taste better, so go for it. But our priority, if we want to be detoxing our body, if we want to be healthy, we have to remove the toxins if we want to be healthy. That's an absolute imperative. There's no question about that. I'm just trying to tilt this down a touch. Is to boost our glutathione levels. Now, going back to these moderately and hard to find elements, there's 4 of them particularly that we need in our diet. Let's stick with just the 2 really, really difficult to find ones, and that is the amino acid cysteine and the mineral selenium. So the mineral selenium is used as a catalyst, so it doesn't end up in the tripeptide itself, which is great because the body gets to reuse it and reuse it and reuse it, but eventually the body gets rid of selenium. Like all minerals, it uses them, and we need to consume more. So a lot of people have cottoned on to the importance of selenium in their diet the last few years. The selenium supplements are all out there. So it's really important to make sure that you're getting a decent amount of selenium in your diet. Cysteine, though, this elusive amino acid, is very, very hard to find in nature. So where are you going to find cysteine in nature? Well, cysteine is a sulfurous molecule. So we'll find it in some sulfurous foods like garlic, onions, and similar types of genus that run along those lines, and also collard greens. And that's great. I encourage you to eat lots of those things. But in order to get the amount of cysteine you need to really elevate your glutathione levels, you would need to be having a lot of collard green stir fries with onion and garlic every night. A lot. More than you could handle. And a lot of people would be complaining about the odor. So both from the garlic and the onions. And they're also, you know, onions are really hard to digest as well. They create a lot of gas and bloat in the stomach. So Tony just said, you ever think of porting your live streams to YouTube? I have uploaded a couple. I just need to set a reminder. You know, if I don't set I don't know about you, but if I don't set a reminder, I have so many reminders in my phone. I was telling Darren, who's watching us right now. I actually have reminders to eat because I just forget to eat. I have metabolic syndrome. I have an incredibly underactive thyroid, very painfully slow metabolism, and I just don't get hungry. I know that a lot of you out there are in the same boat, right? So I set reminders on my phone to eat. Okay, so you would, if you wanted to get enough cysteine from your diet, from collard greens and garlic and onions, then you'll need to set a lot of timers to eat a lot. Now, one doctor who has really been at the forefront of research into glutathione is somebody that a lot of my naturopathic and healthy friends would already know. His name is Mark Hyman, Dr. Mark Hyman. And Dr. Mark Hyman is a wonderful man. He's done a lot of research. He's been involved in a lot of clinical trials. And he has an article that I point people to a lot that's up on the Huffington Post. And you'll find it there if you Google the mother of all antioxidants. You will find Dr. Mark Hyman's article on glutathione. And you should go read that so you know that I'm not the only person talking about glutathione. Because most people have never heard of glutathione. Most people are like, what are you talking about? My doctor's never said, well, your doctor wouldn't have a clue. No offense. I'm not saying that I know more than your doctor. Your doctor probably just knows a little less than me. Yeah, I'm just being arrogant. But no, seriously, most people have never heard of glutathione. Now, a naturopathic doctor, and what is a naturopathic doctor? A naturopathic doctor has done their 5 years of medical study and have gone on to do another 5 to 7 years in natural healing. And naturopathic doctors, they specialize in solving the root cause of your problems rather than prescribing a drug to cover up the symptoms, right? A naturopathic doctor isn't that interested in symptoms. They're interested in root causes, and that's what they start to work on. Now, obviously, you can work on symptoms in the meantime, but sometimes you actually don't want to work on the symptoms because you don't want them to be covered up. Glutathione is really important. It controls about a third of our immune response, controls brain chemistry. Dr. Mark Hyman had a paragraph on that article years ago, not anymore, unfortunately, where he was talking about how he was treating patients with chronic depression that would not respond to any other kind of treatment. He was treating them with glutathione injections. And he said in that paragraph that they were working tremendously well. I think they had done 10 or 20 patients, and that he was about to start clinical trials within the year. Now, I guess he never got around to doing the clinical trials or something because that paragraph is no longer in the article. But glutathione is very, very powerful. If you have anxiety, if you have depression, you want to boost your glutathione levels. And in saying all this, let me just make it perfectly clear that, you know, I'm associated with the Isagenix company. We make a lot of wonderful food products. We do not claim to prevent, cure, treat any disease condition at all. Okay? We create foods, and those foods are very nourishing to the body, but we work on root causes. We want to do things like elevate your glutathione levels. So, okay, so getting back to cysteine, where do we get the cysteine from? The reason I told you about that article is Dr. Mark Hyman makes this big exception on dairy. Now, Dr. Mark Hyman is very anti-dairy, and I am too if you're talking about American, homogenized, pasteurized, destroyed, dead, sterile, white, pretend milk and other dairy products obtained from said milk. But raw milk, which you've seen me drinking all the time, that I purchase every week right now, I don't often get the privilege of being in an area where I can obtain raw milk. And the raw milk we're getting here is not the highest quality, but it's great. It's still good enough. It is great for you. So I'll give you a really simple example of the difference between milk you will buy in the supermarket and raw milk. In America, I would be diagnosed classically as having lactose intolerance. If I drink milk from the supermarket, it'll give me diarrhea. It'll go straight through me. But raw milk It doesn't have that effect at all. In fact, raw milk will digest so well in my digestive tract that it constipates me, and so I've got to be careful about that. If I just drink, when we get our milk delivery on Thursday mornings, I got to be careful I don't polish off a gallon of that stuff real quick. And if I do, I'll get constipated because my body just breaks it down so perfectly. So there is a huge difference. Now, Dr. Mark Hyman makes an exception on one particular dairy product. And he makes an exception. Sorry, I just got an earthquake alert, but it's nothing. It's in the southwest Indian Ridge, so that's fine. He makes an exception on this one dairy product, an undenatured whey protein concentrate. And this is a very special form of whey protein. Like 99% of all whey protein out there is an isolate. And we've stripped all of the vitamins, the minerals, the probiotics, the enzymes, the lactase that breaks down the lactose, and all of the other cofactors that nature put there. When we create an isolate, and we're doing it from pasteurized milk, we've destroyed all those things. There's nothing left except the isolated, that's why we call it an isolate, the isolated amino acids, or the protein molecules, right? Well, a lot of them have been broken down to just aminos. And a lot of the whey products that you get out there don't actually contain what they say they contain. They're piling in a bunch of synthetic amino acids, which unfortunately, if they balance it all right, will pass testing, which is really scary. That means that companies selling whey protein isolates can be selling you just synthetic amino acids. And when these are tested by third-party laboratories, if they've mixed it right so that all the levels look like they would in nature, they can get away with it. That's scary. You just don't know what you're getting. Most of the whey protein in America, if it's not from Wisconsin, it's from China, and so it's not good stuff. But whey protein isolate doesn't contain much cysteine. You've got to be going to an undenatured whey protein concentrate, and that has to be extracted in a very specific way. It has to be extracted without pasteurizing the milk. It's really, really important. And then what we do is we have a patented process that we developed at Isagenix where we squeeze the, trying to make sure my hand is on camera here, we squeeze the milk through a membrane, very much like reverse osmosis, and we squeeze all the moisture out of it. We leave behind this whey protein, and it's an undenatured whey protein concentrate, and then we spray dry it at warm, not hot. This has never been like heat treated. It's never been pasteurized. And then we, now someone said the stream is delaying. Yeah, I do see some dropped frames. I'm sorry about that. I did try something a little bit different with putting a 5-second buffer in here, so I'm not sure. Actually, you know what it might be? 1 second. Be right back with you. Hang on. Okay, back. This stream is going via my iPhone, which is tethered to my computer with the cable, and usually I clear the apps out. I quit them all because I have a jailbroken phone that enables me to get rid of all the apps, and then I put the phone up near this LTE booster that I have up here, and I hadn't done that, so I have 180 drop frames so far, so I'll keep my eye on that and see if that increases or decreases. And it's got a percentage there as well, so we'll see. All right. It's working fine for me so far. Yeah, definitely there's a lot of connection issues on other people's ends because we are streaming a high-definition stream. And if I was streaming just through my cell phone in standard definition, this wouldn't occur. So this protein and the way we extract it from raw milk, when people tell us, they don't want to take a processed product, Look, I get that. I'm a whole food junkie. But there is an exception to be made when a company goes to such extremes to ensure that the integrity of the foods that we are drying and desiccating retain their nutritional values, and we are then able to use that in our foods. And that's what we do with our whey. That's what we do with everything. Almost all our ingredients we grow on our own farms. So this is sorry, I'm talking about Isagenix. This is supposed to be about detoxing, so forgive me, but it's hard not to jump from one to the other, because if you want to boost your glutathione levels, the number one way to do it, as Dr. Mark Hyman suggests himself, who is absolutely the undisputed expert in glutathione in the whole world, he tells you, make the exception to dairy on this one issue, use an unddenatured whey protein concentrate. Now, when I show you our packet label, this is what we use, and it's hard to do it because it's all mirrored. Okay, you see there, the exclusive Maya Isolene Pro Complex whey protein concentrate, undenatured. Okay, so you see that, and that's really important. You need that in order to locate cysteine. If you don't have cysteine in your diet, you're in trouble. So remember the other three elements that we talked about: glycine and glutamic acid or glutamine. You can use either or. So here you will see, in fact, they're all three in a row, which makes it very, very convenient. The only genuine drinkable meal on the market, and this is not a diet product, this is a full-blown drinkable meal that has the amino acid profile right on the packet. And so let me just bring this right into here. Let's see if that will it focus? There we go. All right, so you can see there, you got all the amino acids down there. You see cysteine, 800 milligrams of cysteine, 6,000 milligrams of glutamic acid, 655 milligrams of glycine. Those are the three aminos that your body requires to make the tripeptide, glutathione, in your liver. So the question is, doesn't your liver do the detoxing? Yes, if it has sufficient glutathione to detox, because that's the only part of your liver that your liver creates glutathione from these amino acids and from the minerals, a catalyst, and then it creates the tripeptide, which it flushes throughout your body through your bloodstream. That sticky sulfurous molecule grabs onto toxins and drags them down to your liver for elimination. And the liver is very, very efficient at recycling glutathione. So you've actually got a 90% cycle rate, which is fantastic. So it can take a long time for your glutathione levels to drop. Most kids in America have a pretty high dairy diet, and so they're drinking lots of milk. And although it might be hard for them to digest, they're extracting a lot of cysteine and glutamic acid and glycine from the milk, which elevates your glutathione. So to the paleo people that say that milk doesn't belong in the paleo diet, well, I absolutely disagree. I disagree for two main reasons. Number one, I believe it is paleo. To suggest that humanity has not consumed milk for millennia is simply to deny the evidence. We know that humanity has. I mean, we can just look a few thousand years, about 4,000 years back at the Old Testament writings in the Bible, where it talked about people consuming milk from cows. So, you know, it's at least 4,000 years old, but it's, which is 4 millennia, but it's probably hundreds and hundreds of millennia old. So I disagree. You know, you've got the guy who really came along and created the whole paleo system and decided for himself that milk wasn't paleo. And so there's a lot of personal opinion and not science in the paleo world. Milk, in my opinion, is absolutely paleo. Raw milk, though, raw milk, and that's what we have in here. It's been aged by law 90 days and checked for pathogens as again required by law, but it's a raw dairy product and it digests so well, which is why when we give people that are lactose intolerant these shakes, they don't have a problem with it. Okay, so now that we've boosted your glutathione levels, well, one other element, you need selenium, and you'll notice that we have a bunch of minerals here in the mineral panel as well, because this is a full drinkable meal, right? and you'll see if the camera would be kind enough. Come on. Hello. Okay, wow, you can zoom in. Oh, look at that. Okay. And so you can see there in the left column, selenium 30%. Sorry, that's moving around a little bit. I was going to get some screenshots and things, but I ran out of time. I apologize. So in each one of these drinkable meals, we have all 4 elements that you need to create glutathione in your body. Now, I said young kids drink a lot of milk, and then they kind of taper off milk later in life. And so what happens is your liver will continue to recycle that glutathione at a 90% rate, very efficient, for quite a long time, for many, many years, even a decade. But as you're reducing the amount of cysteine in your diet, which just simply happens with almost all people, then by the time you're 35, your glutathione levels, for most people, are bordering on deficient. And by the time you're 50, 60, forget about it. Unless you've been very intentional about consuming a diet rich in cysteine, you're not going to have glutathione in your body. You're not going to be detoxing. And if everybody had sufficient glutathione in their system, everybody would be so much healthier. It's not remotely funny. I mean, one of the easiest ways to save countless billions of dollars on our healthcare costs would be to get everybody consuming undernatured whey protein, or at least an NAC supplement, which is how you can buy cysteine as a supplement. NAC supplements are limited to 600 milligrams by law. Ours is completely naturally occurring, so we get away with 800 in here, which is just a little bit more, and it's really good for you. You can't overdose on that. These are just naturally occurring amino acids. If your body doesn't need them, it just flushes them out. Okay, so your kidneys, in that case, will take care of the excess proteins, as you probably know. So, does the body detox by itself? Yes. If it's nourished correctly and is able to create the molecules that it needs to actually go around the body and scavenge for free radicals and toxins and drag them back to the liver for elimination, then yes, your body will naturally detox. Over time, you can almost completely detox the body just like that. Now, what about herbs, though? Well, herbs, in a technical sense, don't detox the body. Okay? Now, I guess for simplification reasons, we'll find that a lot of companies will talk about the Indian Ayurvedic medicinal herbs as detoxes. It's okay to market it like that. It's okay to not, it's not being deceptive. Whoever messaged me, I can't see that right now because my phone is not in front of me. Whoever, that's not deceptive to say that, certain herbs are going to detox the body. Because sometimes you just got to break it down to a layman's perspective. You can't give a whole bunch of technical information. So I don't think that's deceptive by any means. Everybody does it. The problem is that there should be some way of getting information to the consumer that that's not the whole story on detoxing your body. Now, when people join us in the Liberty Business Network, they generally start on a 32-day detox program. And first of all, we start off by raising their glutathione levels. Then we introduce the Ayurvedic medicinal herbs to mobilize toxins. And they mobilize toxins, they don't remove toxins, okay? So we start everybody out with our shakes first. Okay, sorry, somebody's messaging me. I'm so sorry, Liana, but I'm in the middle of a stream right now. You've got to make sure you've got sufficient glutathione in your body. If you're deficient in glutathione and you consumed our herbal product that is designed to mobilize toxins, and we see this all the time. Richard, if you're watching, you know exactly what we're talking about. Somebody that just didn't get the information, and he's in our team, but he started on the herbal detoxing before his body, and he had a lot of health problems. And before he had sufficient time to build up glutathione in his body, he started taking the herbal drink to mobilize toxins and felt sick, really sick. And that's what will happen, okay, because these things do work. So for the naysayers out there that think herbs don't detox the body, technically that's correct, but let's just be real. They do mobilize toxins into the bloodstream from other areas in the body. And when that happens, if a person doesn't have sufficient glutathione levels to immediately grab onto those toxins and move them to the liver for elimination, then you will get sick. You'll throw up, you'll get diarrhea, you'll get horrible stomach cramps. I mean, you'll feel bad, you'll get splitting migraines. You won't feel good at all, okay? So if anyone thinks, well, that stuff doesn't do anything, really, well, let's find somebody that doesn't have glutathione in their system right now and give them a bunch of herbal detoxes, and there will be your proof that actually these things really do work. So it's important, if you want to detox the body, that you really start out boosting your glutathione levels. And if you're really sick, if you've got any kind of major illness, and you're trying to get healthy, then you need to really go get your blood work done and make sure that your glutathione levels are sufficiently high enough. Now, that's only for someone who's really sick. And what we do in, in the Liberty Business Network is we have you do 1 week of shakes first, and depending on who you are. So we just had a couple that joined us last week, and one person in that couple is 100 pounds overweight and the other is 200 pounds overweight. So for them, anybody who's 50 pounds overweight, we make them wait 2 weeks. Anyone who's 100 pounds overweight, we make them wait 3 weeks. 3 weeks of just consuming the meals to boost your glutathione levels first, and then you do the herbal detoxes. And even then, if they encountered any kinds of negative symptoms when they start drinking the herbal detox, then we encourage them to stop immediately and go back and do another week of shakes first. So people will always criticize and say this is, the body doesn't work this way and herbs can't help and all this kind of stuff. And I'm sorry, but I've been doing this very intensely for people for 4 years now, and you're wrong. It does. Because we see the side effects of people that haven't prepared themselves properly for it. So now what do the herbal detoxes do? They mobilize toxins. Okay, what time is it? 9:07. So they mobilize toxins. Your lymphatic system stores toxins as your body encounters them. So if there's too many toxins in your body for your body's natural ability to detox at the time, it starts shoving toxins into your lymphatic system. These are little repositories where the body will store toxins. So, when you get a snake bite, say you get a snake bite on your lower calf, well, there's a lymph node under your kneecap, and we tie a tourniquet around your upper thigh to try to prevent that blood from flowing up, and we want the lymph node instead to start catching all the toxin from the venom. That's what they do. That's their job, right? So these are very powerful little systems in the body. But they can get overloaded with toxins. And then what they do is they start moving toxins to another area of the body. And this is an area that has only been really researched the last probably 10 or 15 years. We still have a lot to learn about how it works. But we do a lot of clinical tests to try to learn more and more about how it works. And we just did a 15-month clinical trial on this. And the place where it stores toxins is your adipose cells, ADIPOSE, adipose cells. And these are your fat cells. Okay, so you got a cell that grows and shrinks depending on how many lipids your body, fats, your body puts inside of the cell. And that's the source of obesity right there, okay? What happens is if you've got a toxin and your lymphatic system is full and your body's not detoxing, then your body will mobilize that toxin to the core of that adipose cell, and it'll surround it with lipids to protect your body from the toxins. When you go on a diet to try to lose weight, you are under this mad race to burn these lipids, to make the body use these lipids for fuel, for ATP production, and they shrink. But the problem is the cell knows it's trying to protect you from a bunch of toxins that it purposefully put inside that cell. And so the moment you get off that diet program, what happens? You start eating a few carbohydrates. Those carbohydrates turn back to lipids. The body says, thank God I can inflate these cells again with lipids. And people end up not just regaining the weight, but gaining another 5 or 10 pounds as well. All right? In order to have permanent, effective weight loss, you've got to consider removing the toxins from your body. Otherwise, you will be fighting a losing battle. All right? That's one of the reasons why our 32-day nutritional cleansing program works after everything else doesn't. We have a completely different approach to weight loss. We're about nourishing the body lean, not depriving it thin. It's a very, very different approach. You know, we make real drinkable meals. This is 280 calories. It's not 90 calories, not a little diet shake. This is a full-blown drinkable meal. So I think we've answered these questions, haven't we? Does your body detox on its own? Yes, but you have to give it the nutrients that it needs to create glutathione in the liver to do so. Additionally, it's going to be very, very helpful if you introduce, once you've elevated your glutathione levels, herbal detoxes, herbal toxin mobilizers that will shuffle toxins out of the cells, out of your lymphatic system, into the bloodstream. And you know, we just did a massive 15-month clinical trial and we proved this work. It's very easy to prove it works. Here's how you do it. You've got a normal human being, me, right? We take my blood work and we measure all of the PCBs, PCAs, all of the toxins that are floating around my bloodstream from the environmental toxins that I've absorbed, okay? We detect these in every single human on the planet now, okay? And then we test the herbal formula and we go, are there any toxins in the herbal formula? No, there's not. Okay, drink the herbal formula, all right. We control everything that's put into the body. Everything's tested. Make sure there's no toxins that we're introducing to the body. You drink the detoxes, right? The herbal detoxes. And we see the blood toxin count increase. What does that mean? Isn't that a bad thing? No, it's a good thing because we're moving toxins from places where they're stored in the body to the bloodstream. And now it's the role of glutathione to grab it while it's in the bloodstream and take it back to the liver. If you don't have the glutathione, you're going to feel really ill as your blood suddenly starts to fill up with a toxic overload. All right? It's not going to kill you, but it's going to make you feel pretty yucky. All right? We don't want that. So, hopefully that answers your question. Do herbal toxin mobilizers work? Absolutely. Do certain foods enable the body to detox? Absolutely. Garlic, onions, collard greens, eat as much of them as you can and introduce undenatured whey protein concentrate, just like we have here, into your diet, right? Gosh, this thing, here we go, okay? Just like we have here, undenatured whey protein concentrate. That's going to enable your body to create elevated glutathione levels. You're going to feel amazing. If you want to know, you know, when people start on our program, it's only 2 or 3 days into it, where people start to sleep better and get incredible mental clarity. And like, where did that come from? Because we're not giving them any classic nootropics. Okay, nootropics are compounds that help the brain to work. There's no, well, there are a couple of nootropics in here, but they're light. So that's not, you know, the real reason that you get such mental clarity when you start consuming this is because we elevate your glutathione levels. And your brain loves it. Crosses your blood-brain barrier. Your brain loves glutathione. Glutathione helps your brain control brain chemistry, which is why people have used glutathione injections to help people with chronic depression. Okay? So there's no downside here. I really encourage everybody to do our 32-day program. Has a real solid money-back guarantee, so you can't lose there. Feel how your body is supposed to feel. Take detoxing of your body seriously. It does work. It's not a bunch of snake oil. And it's a little bit of a kind of a weird process. And, you know, Isagenix doesn't get into that. Everything I'm telling you right now, by the way, this isn't marketing propaganda from Isagenix. This is what I've learned, you know, since studying naturopathy since I was 17. So there's no Isagenix training tells us anything like what I'm telling you right now. This is all stuff that I've learned long before I discovered Isagenix, and I just found a company that just nails it. I mean, they have a scientific research institute in Phoenix, Arizona. These guys know what they're doing. So I really encourage you to, and we got free membership this week too, so I'd really encourage you to do that. And thank you, Lynn Paul. I appreciate your compliment. So that's it. Any questions, guys? I can hang around. It's only 9:15 here. So if you've got any questions, I would love to answer them for you. Let me see if there were any questions I missed. Let me see. I think I have to make the video pop out in order to... Jenny asked a good question. Can you get the same glutathione benefits from raw milk as you do from whey protein product? Sorry, I just need to do a Hillary Clinton over here. All right. Sure, that made some of you laugh. Yes, you can. Simple answer. Absolutely. Drink raw milk. Raw milk is a fantastic way to get the glutathione and into your body, the cysteine, the glutamic acid, the glycine, and all the other amino acids that we have here in your body. So absolutely. I mean, it's one of the reasons I drink raw milk. Raw milk, I mean, it tastes fantastic. But yes, you absolutely can get these amino acids from raw milk. It may be a little harder to digest than this for some people, but shouldn't be. Raw milk is remarkable. You know, and I guess I have a very healthy skepticism of clinical trials and studies. You know, I was talking to somebody today, and they presented a study, and the study just defies all freaking common sense. Actually, two studies come to mind. So there was a study done that you all know when you drink milk, you get a little extra mucus usually. I tend not to, especially, well, not with raw milk anyway. Maybe a tiny, tiny little bit. But there was a study done that showed that drinking milk had no impact on mucus production, which we all know is complete nonsense, okay? We've all experienced the excess mucus production when we've had a big glass of milk or two. And yet there's a study done that says that's nonsense. That's why I have a very, very healthy skepticism of clinical trials. You've really got to take them with a pinch of salt. It's also why Isagenix's scientists, it's why they also conduct all of their own clinical trials, even if something is accepted in the scientific community, because they're always flawed. There's so much personal bias that goes into them. Off topic, but would you suggest raw milk as something that may help someone with Crohn's as far as the probiotics and all the other benefits? You know, I can't legally talk about that, but maybe Google it, see. I'm not sure. Would these products help Hillary? Yeah, they sure would help Hillary Clinton. Don't let her know. Don't tell her, okay? Quite happy with the way things are going myself. So, is that really cruel? I don't know, maybe. All right, well, I've enjoyed you spending your time with me this evening. If you found this helpful, please give me a thumbs up, like it above. I can see only 2 people have liked it. Usually we got like over a dozen likes by now. So give it a thumbs up if you've really, if this has added some value to your life tonight. Please consider sharing this. I saw a couple of people shared it. Really appreciate that. Thank you so very, very much. If you've got comments, you know, if you're watching the replay, by all means, leave a comment. I always see them. So I will see you tomorrow night. We're going to do something kind of cool tomorrow night. I'll leave it up to a surprise, but I'll tell you a few hours before the stream. All right. Have a fantastic evening, guys. Appreciate you all so very much. Bye-bye. Oh. Oh, well, I'm just seeing a different option right now. Interesting. So I guess I put that buffer in there, and now it gives me a little bit of I see. Let's try this.